Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
Durgesh.
Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. ఎవరు ఉన్నారు? Good afternoon, Dalia.
Nubia వాళ్ళ ఫాదర్ కి బాగాలేదంట మేడం.
అచ్చా అచ్చా ఓకే.
హాస్పిటల్లో మీకు ఎలా ఉంది మేడం ఇప్పుడు హెల్త్ బిడ్డి?
ఇప్పుడు పర్వాలే కొంచెము, ఇంకా
అయ్యో ఏం మేడం ఇంత ఎఫెక్ట్ ఇచ్చింది కరోనా?
కరోనా కరోనా ఎఫెక్ట్. మీ ప్రాక్టికల్ క్లాస్ టైంకి క్యూర్ అవుతాను కానీ.
అవును మేడం.
అవునా, వెళ్ళి డిస్టర్బ్ చేయకుండా.
నలుగురు వచ్చారు మేడం.
పర్వాలే, ఇంక నాకు తెలిసి ఈ రోజు ఎవరు రారేమో. ఇది C8 లో దిస్ ఇస్ ద లాస్ట్ టాపిక్.
ఓకే మేడం.
ఇది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోతుంది ఈ రోజు, ఇంకా ఇది ఒకటి పెండింగ్.
ఓకే
ఓకే, స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాను. ఎవరన్నా ఉంటే జాయిన్ అవుతారులేండి, ఇప్పటికే లేట్ అవుంది కదా మనకి.
అవును మేడం.
ఓకే రైట్. So right. So before we starting this sustainable development, we should know simply the term this development. Right? So development means that is to improve the human life, to do something for the betterment of the human society, and to make this human's life more easy and more convenient. So that is the development, right? So and now the word the sustainable. So it basically it means about to sustain, that is to continue, right? So continuity, that is from present to the future, right? So the first definition that we find out. So the official definition is coming from the Brundtland Commission. Brundtland Commission. So that is Board Commission on Environment and Development, right? So and it defines sustainability or sustainable development. So that is that development which meets the needs present. So that it should be meets the needs of present. So but at the same time not compromising, right? Not compromising or without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs, right? So that's how this connect to the present to the future. So that is important in terms of the concept of our definition of this sustainable development, right? So apart from this, there are two important points here, right? So that to be emphasized when you look into sustainable development. So now, first one is natural resources. And second one is the development activity and its future consequences. So remember, these three are the important pillars in sustainable development. So that is, so what are the natural resources and how are we going to sustain it to the future generations, right? And also what kind of activities are we doing at the present, and what are going to be future consequences, right? So these are two things that needs to be taken care while talking about this sustainable development, right? So now you see here, so the three pillars of sustainability. So these are the very, very important things in this sustainability. So you see here, sustainability can be defined as integration of these three pillars of social, economic, and environmental columns, right? So it is an approach that is equally balanced with long-term profitability and maximum environment care and social responsibilities. So you see in this particular diagram, so it says this is the sustainability, right here. So which is combination of these major three pillars, right? So one is environmental, and second one is social, and third one is economic, right? So environmental, so it is coming from natural resource usage and environmental management, and also pollution prevention. It means using earth resources in a way that they have enough time for earth to replenish as we use them, right? So this can mean something like trees where we cut down too many and don't plant enough to replace them, or by creating waste streams faster than earth can absorb them. That is causing waste to build up, right? And then next, second one is economic, and where we have profit and cost savings and economic growth and research and development happening here. So the economic sustainability is where people are able to make enough money to support their needs and business, right? So it's about the continued success of the economy for all people, right? Third one is social. So that is standard of living, education, and also community and equal opportunity, right? So this social sustainability is where all people have the opportunity to get the resources and economic success they need while not facing any exploitation or discrimination of any kind. So when you fuse them together, this overlap makes it sustainable, right? So these three pillars should pretty similar to you, and they should, so because they overlap and impact each other, right? So remember, the sustainable development is a fusion of these three pillars of sustainability. So that is important to put here, right? So now, then apart from this, we have one more definition. So that is coming from the thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi's principle of enoughness. What is that? Enoughness. So that is how much of enough, right? So what is the need? So the earth provides enough to satisfy every person's need, but not for every person's greed. So this statement can be quoted in terms of the principle of sustainability, right? So that we always consider our need rather than greed, right? Need rather than this greed. So unless we do that, things are not going to be sustained, right? For future to come. So that is important in terms of this basic concept of this sustainable development, right? So you see here some of the organizations working under this three major pillars of sustainability. You see here, first one is UNEP, that is the United Nations Environmental Program, and also EPA. So EPA means Environmental Protection Agency. It is mainly focuses on environmental pillar, this environmental pillar, right? And then next one is WTO, that is World Trade Organization. So it gives importance to mostly economic sustainability, this economic sustainability. And then next, OECD. So it means, it stands for Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It is focuses on both this economic and social sustainability, like justice, reduction of war, and reducing poverty, etc. So these are the main three organizations under working these three pillars of sustainability. Now, there are certain steps towards the sustainable development. So that could be understood these points, right? So first one is adoption of energy and resource saving methods. So now remember those methods that help us save the energy and resource. It means that is sustainable method, right? So and second one is the new technology for minimization of waste and toxins, right? So with growing age and technology and development, so what is happening is, right? So that lots of waste and toxins in generated, right? So we need to minimize it, that second point. And the next third one is biodegradable, renewable, and recyclable products. So now remember these three keys are biodegradable, renewable, and recyclable products to be utilized. So those products which can be either biodegradable, right? Then either it can be renewable after once usage, or it can be recycled, right? So that is important because then it would reduce the burden on all those stock or fixed resources, right? The next fourth point is education and awareness about environment among people. So unless so we make people aware, right? So that how to utilize the resources and how to minimize the waste and how to recycle and use biodegradable for its. So remember, there will be a problem which persists, and that is where it is not going to be sustainable unless we get out to common people, right? So now, just wait, it's not moving actually. Mouse not moving. Oh, God. Okay, right. Just wait. right? Is it visible?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Right. Sorry for the disturbance. So please stuck. Now, if you observe the sustainable development in center, it's talk about people, and it's talk about prosperity, and it's talk about peace, and also about partnership, and also about planet, right? So we have the concept of these 5 P's, right? So here, so which means people, prosperity, peace, partnership, and planet. We take care of these 4 P's together to make sustainable development. So remember, if any of them in this term, this system concept. So if any one part of the system is disturbed, it will impact the entire system, right? So it makes sustainable. So you must consider the concept of the 5 P's, right? So now, so the going back to this concept of tragedy of commons and sustainable development. So in 1968, the ecologist and philosopher Garrett Hardin. So he's the gentleman, this person. So he wrote an essay entitled The Tragedy of the Commons. And in this particular article, so he argued so that if individuals, right, that if individual acts independently and rationally and focused on pursuing their individual interest, they would end up going against the common interest, right? So if individual interest over power the common interest, then there is a problem. So of their communities, right? Of their communities and exhaust the planet's natural resources, right? So this is his argument of in the year of 1968 under the entitlement of the tragedy of the commons. So in this way, the human free access and unlimited consumption of finite resource, it would extinguish at certain time. So this was his argument that we don't understand his idea that there is a common interest, not individual interest in the world. So then what will happen to the resources? It will get extinguished, right? Extinguished, in the, this time, right? So, and then next, so Hardin believed that since man is compelled to procreate unlimited, right? So remember, human population is going to increase, right? So, and earth resources would be eventually get over exploited. Hence, it will extinguish and it will lead to perils, right? So, to his eyes, mankind needed to radically change its way of using the common resources. So that is the main argument here. That is in the year of 1968, right? So who is this man? Garrett Hardin, right? So he wrote this, The Tragedy of the Commons, right? Next, then what we see is the limits to growth to coming. So in the year of 1972, and that you see in Meadows et al. And Meadows et al. Report, as we say, in the Club of Rome, it was commissioned, right? So, and remember here, 5 different dimensions. We are talking about these 5. First one is world population growth. and industrialization and pollution generation and food production and non-renewable resource depletion. So these 5 different dimensions which we talk about in this concept where the limits to growth were discussed, right? So all these 5 scenarios discussed, and the strongest ending scenario was that an economic, right? Economic and social collapse. It would happen by the end of the 21st century. And this is which triggered a huge movement around the world. And in terms of environmental movement and in terms of environmentalism, so that came, right? So limits to growth had a great role, right? Now, so he is the person, so that is developed, this is Hardin, he is the Hardin in the year of 1972. Sorry. Now, let's talk about first United Nations Conference on the Environment and Sustainable Development. So that is placed in 1972 and in the Stockholm. Between 5th June, remember this word, 5th June. 5th June, okay? 5th June to 16th June. So where India also presented its view on environmental degradation, where we find human environment being the center of the talks, right? So in the remembrance of this conference, the World Environment Day is celebrated every year. So what is the date? World Environment Day.
5th June, ma'am.
5th June. So that is the main reason, right? So here it was first time that human ecology and environment, human ecology and environment was center of the talks, and people talks about the resource usage for the first time at this international platform. So then we see in the 1980s, so the Human Development Index coming into this picture, the HDI, it's called HDI, Human Development Index, right? So now the HDI was a statistical tool. It has only limits as well, but it tried to integrate economy and economical together, which quality of life as well, right? So the HDI development also gave what empathizes that lead to the further development of concept of the sustainable development that we see here, right? So now this is important to remember these words. So then the Brundtland report on sustainable development of 1987. If you look here, so the Gro-Harlem-Brundtland, it was then Norway politician and was 3 terms as Prime Minister of Norway, right? 3 times. So she is the Gro-Harlem-Brundtland, right? So her name is Gro-Harlem-Brundtland, right? So 3 terms as Prime Minister of Norway. She was also the Director General of the World Health Organization, right? Okay. So World Health Organization from 1998 to 2003, right? So what happens? She chaired this commission, which is called on her name Brundtland Commission, right? Brundtland Commission. So, and they made a report known as Our Common Future. This one. So, mouse is not working. Is it Our Common Future? So, it was not individual future. So, it was our common future, right? So, and here the first, just wait. So, and here the first accepted definition that we learned earlier, right? So it came in the 1987, right? So the following this report, this was the statement right here. So the human ability to ensure that the current development meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, right? So this was talking about intergenerational shift our resources and intergenerational equity of resource distribution. So that was the main principle behind it. So that is important to understand here. Now, if you look into the circle, oh, so you see PDF, okay. So that is disturbance. Right. Okay. So in this circle of sustainable development or sustainability, so what you find here, four major parts, right? So that is economics and ecology, and culture and politics, right? So it is visible or not?
Yes, ma'am,
visible,
it's
ma'am.
visible.
Okay,
Ma'am,
right.
it's visible.
Okay, right. Thank you. So then economics, first one is economics. So in economics, what you see here, production and resourcing and exchange and transfer, accounting and regulation and consumption and use and labor and welfare and technology and infrastructure, wealth and distribution. So these are part of this economics. And coming to ecology, at the same time, what you observe here, ecology was material and energy and water and air, flora and fauna, etc. So all that we have learned in the your previous classes, right? So then we have other pillar is culture. So that is so engagement and identity creation and recreational activity, creativity, memory and projection, belief system, gender equations, and inquiry and learning, health and well-being. So all these are part of the human cultures. And then at the same time, the politics, so organization and government, and law and justice, communication and movement, security and accordance, right? So all these functions, including ethics and accountability, forms this entire circle of this sustainability, right? So now you observe in this circle, that is the weakness. So this red color, right? So this quadrant of this circle, this red circle, right? So that is finding out to be getting weak, right? So we have critical or bad condition of highly satisfactory conditions, more an ecological sector. And that is where we have concern about ecology, right? So in other sectors, we have find some development happenings. So lots of things happening, but critical, bad or highly unsatisfactory is an ecological part. So this is important to understand that there has to be a great ecological awareness in the society. So then next. So let's understand these sustainable development goals, right? So there are 17 goals, and here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up to here 17 number, right? So 17 goals, and it was set up, filed by the United Nations General Assembly in the year of 2015, right? And they're intended to be, so the targets to be achieved by 2030. So the United Nations resolution called the 2030 Agenda, which is also colloquially known as Agenda 2030, right? So this is basically based on all these 17 goals, right? So you see here, first goal, this one, right? This first goal is no poverty. It means poverty elevation programs around the world. And second one is zero hunger. So it means food security, right? And next one is good health and wealthy. And fourth is education. And fifth is gender. And next one is clean water and sanitation. And next one is affordable and clean energy. So now remember, this is going to be one of the key, because it is not just about affordability, but also about the waste. So that happening, and also about the needs, so that are getting greater and great with time. So affordability is a question here, right? So then next one is decent work and economic growth. And next one is industry innovation and infrastructure, and reduce inequalities, and sustainable cities and communities, and also responsible consumption and production. And the 13th is climate action, right? So climate action, where we are talking every day around global climate change, right? So we have life below water. Life below water is talking about the ocean's health and the marine health, right? So then we have life and land. So it's talking about the living beings on the terrestrial planet, right? So what we have is flora and fauna who are being in danger or getting extinct. So then we have peace, justice, and strong institutions. Remember, the word peace institutions, it is very much important for all of us to make this sustainable developments possible. And the last one is 17th is partnership for the goals. Remember, nothing can sustain, right? So if it is individual, it has to be a common agenda, right? So partnership also is also as important as any other, right? So these are the 17 sustainable development goals, right? So now you see here, it is the map of the goal of sustainable development report 2020 report only, right? So, and how the world looks through the indexes of the sustainable development. So now if you observe greater than 80 here, right? So it is a deepest color. And if you observe this, you see here, this place, right? So Western and Europe countries. So these are the deepest areas, right? So apart from that, next one is 70, 80, and the next 60, 70, and so on, right? So if you observe, most of the places in the world are under the 70, 80, and 60, 70, right? So very few places of countries of the world are under above 80, right? So that is what is visible in this index, right? So now looks into the ranking according to Sustainable Development Report, only 2020. Remember this, 2020 only, right? So the top 10 rankers are here, right? So first one is Sweden and Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Norway, Austria, and Czech Republic, and Netherlands, Estonia, right? So these are the top 10 rankers, right? So what you observe, it is led by all these Scandinavian countries. Look at Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Norway. So all of them here, if you observe, they're coming from a particular location, right? So we mark in that map here, right? So now, so look into the Indian performance. So not in these 10 rankers, not India is not there, right? So you see here. So we are performing on index score that is about between 60 to 70, right? So that is 61.9. And global rank in terms of sustainability, that is 117, is out of how many countries? 166 countries. You see here, 166 countries. So this report is 2020 report. So according to 2022 report, so the first 5 ranked countries are, first one is Finland, and second one is Denmark, third Sweden, and fourth Norway, and fifth Austria, right? So India have ranked year-wise from 2000, in 2019, 115 rank, and 2020, 117, this 117, and 2021, 120 rank, and 2022, 121, right? So if you observe these 17 goals, right here. So these 17 goals, and which goals we are doing good and which we are not doing good, you can observe from here. So this is the trends that happens observed in Sustainable Development Report 2020. So in terms of first goal, this one, so you observe this arrow marks, right? So first one is no poverty, right? So they are improving here. So arrow mark is green and going to up, right? So that is improving. And second one is zero hunger. So they are slightly improving. And then good health and wealthy. So they are also slightly improving. And quality education. So we are not improving. We are not improving as we should then, right? So then gender quality, still a way to go, right? And clean water sanitation, they are improving, right? So this is according to Sustainable Development 2020 report, right? So the worst that we are doing here, life and health, this red arrow mark going down, right? You observe here, this one. So which is going down trend, right? So that is important to understand. That is the life and land. It means the protection for flora and fauna land is very much important in terms of concern, right? So now if you look into the map, we are slightly better than some countries around us like Nepal or Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, also Sri Lanka. So, but if you compare with China, we are still lagging behind in terms of sustainable development goals, right? So in terms of sustainable index, according to the 2020 report. So lots of improvement is required in various sectors. We can observe in this the 17 goals, right? So now, if you look into the sustainable development today, so what is happening, right? So today's framework on sustainable development is very strong and it is long way to go. So remember the IPCC, it means Intergovernmental Panel Climate Change report. It says that we need a reduction of carbon dioxide emissions to control the earth temperature and keep it below how much? 2 degrees centigrade, right? So, and beat plastic pollution and multiple campaigns are being launched actively, but it needs to be taken clear. So with at most urgency, because remember it's sustainable development that we are looking into. It has all the present and the economy and the society and this ecology and cultures. So everything is intertwined, right? So there are various factors which needs to be taken care that we have discussed under this sustainable development concept, right? So you observe here, so this is the latest report. So that is 2022 report. So up to here, this is the 2020 report. So now this is the latest report 2022, right? So you see here, so 2022 report, what it say? So you see here recently the Sustainable Development Report 2022 has been released, right? So this report is prepared by UNDESA, that is United Nations Department of Economics and Social Affairs, and the entire United Nations statistical system. And also it is a collaborative efforts between the Department of Economic and Social Affairs and more than 50 international and regional agencies. And also it is the only United Nations official report that monitors global progress on the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And the 2022 report is based on data from over 200 countries and territories. So 2020 reports. So in how many countries is there 2020 report? Anybody?
166.
166, right? Okay. So in 2022, those are 200 countries are participating, right? So and it gives the global community a reality check on the devastating impacts of multiple crises affecting people's livelihoods, right? And it tracks the global and regional progress towards the 17 goals, right? So what are the highlights of this 2022 report? So that is the COVID-19 pandemic period. It has so far directly or indirectly cost the lives of close to 15 million people, right? How many? 15 million. So global health systems have been overwhelmed and many essential health services have been disrupted. And also an estimated 147 million children missed more than half of their in-person instruction over the past 2 years. Right? The next, women have been disproportionately affected by the socio-economic fallout of the pandemic, and refugees were at the highest number on record in 2021, and forced displacement is continuing to grow and exacerbated by the war. So that is in the Ukraine, right? So as of the end of May 2022, some 6.5 million refugees had fled Ukraine alone. So mostly women and children, right? So the war could cut global economic growth by how much? 0.9 centigrade points in 2022, right? So this is the latest report, 2022 report. So these are the highlights and these are the points, okay? So this is the sustainable development topic in your C8 book, okay? So this is the, I think this is the last topic, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So any doubts? Yeah, ask me.
Ma'am, exam lo sustainable development adugute, we have to mention first 3 pillars.
Yeah, you should mention.
3 pillars, then 5.
That. Okay, compulsory.
Yeah, after that, 5 P's and 5 P's, prosperity. Adi mention chestu 17 points
goals.
Regarding the
goals.
Even elaborate chese rase chalu.
సరిపోతుంది అంతే. ఈ జస్ట్ నేను పీపీటీ పెట్టిస్తాను మీకు. సో ఐ విల్ అప్లోడ్ ఇన్ ది వాట్సాప్ గ్రూప్. ఓకే
మ్యామ్, ఈ రిపోర్ట్స్ కూడా రాయాలా మేడం? సస్టైనబుల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ రిపోర్ట్ 2022
15 మార్క్స్ క్వశ్చన్ వస్తే కొంచెం దాన్ని ఎలాబరేట్ చేసి రాసేసేయండి. 5 మార్క్స్ క్వశ్చన్ జస్ట్ సింపుల్, ఓన్లీ వన్ యూ కెన్ రైట్ ఇన్ ఓన్లీ వన్ పేపర్, రైట్? 15 మార్క్స్ అయితే ఈ టోటల్ రాసిస్తే సరిపోతుంది. జస్ట్ వన్ పాయింట్. మెయిన్ ఈ బ్రంట్ ల్యాండ్ కమిషన్ ఉంది, బ్రంట్ ల్యాండ్ కమిషన్, ఈ 3 దిస్ వన్, ఓకే? సో దీస్ 3 అండ్ ఆల్సో దిస్ వన్, దిస్, ఓకే? సో ఈ 3 కంపల్సరీ రాయండి. బ్రంట్ ల్యాండ్ కమిషన్. సో యూ కెన్ రైట్ 5 P's ఆల్సో, ఓకే? These are the main important things in sustainability. So these 3 pillars, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, right. So, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So today class is over. Okay.
Okay.
And if you want previous slides or previous PPTs, you can send me the message in group. So I forgot that actually. Okay. Durgesh.
Okay,
ma'am. PPTs పెట్టాను పెట్టలేదు నాకు తెలీదు. అప్లోడ్ చేస్తాను. సార్ మెన్షన్ చేయండి. ఓకే రైట్. ఓకే
ma'am, from Kyoto protocol you did not send, ma'am.
Kyoto protocol.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So I will upload. Okay.
Ma'am, right from climate changes, ma'am. Please post the PPT.
Okay. So if you don't mind, you can send me the message, PPT names and message.
Okay, madam.
Okay, so I will upload. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are you taking any class after this also, ma'am?
No class is there, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
The last class today. Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.